Alright, this is about to be the best video you watch regarding the Persona 4 Revival censorship discourse. Let's address the elephant in the room first. Yosuke. I am aware that people have called Yosuke homophobic, bigoted, problematic, and even insensitive by the game developers of Persona 4 Revival. So that leaves us with the question, is Yosuke truly problematic? So, drum roll please. How do I feel? You guessed it. I am against the censorship and the accusations. Let's start with the homophobia. Yes, Yosuke does act weird with gay people, but I don't think that's a problem exclusive to Yosuke. As we know, fiction oftentimes reflects reality. A lot, and I mean a lot, of young men feel this way towards gay people. Does it make it okay? Absolutely not. But the fact that it's not okay is and should be okay to present in a video game. The problem with Yosuke's written homophobia is that it has absolutely nothing to do with character development. It's kind of unnecessary and it's just there for comedic purposes. This is a good argument that I see people on the opposing side making. So to them, they see no problem taking this out of the game, which honestly, they have a strong point. However, I am also under the strong belief that if it is not broken, don't fix it. The reason why people like Persona 4 so much is because of a lot of the crazy statements some characters make. This persona is the opposite of safe. King Moron, for example, as soon as you enter class for the first time, this guy obviously has some screws loose. But I argue that King Moron is literally there as your homeroom teacher to set the tone of the rest of the game. Like, hey, welcome to Inaba. Get ready to meet some crazy and unusual people. Without getting too far off topic, even though some fans don't like it, characters like King Moron is here as a blunt comedic device for the rest of the game. Characters like King Moron gives the game flavor and arguably makes school more memorable and engaging because he's different in the first place. Now, where am I going with this? You're probably thinking I'm trying to justify homophobia. That's actually a pretty funny accusation in and of itself, but you're not so far from the truth. I'm not justifying homophobia, but I am justifying it in the contextualized literacy of Persona 4. If Persona 4 was being homophobic just for the sake of being homophobic, then I will agree with you that it is unnecessary. However, there is a practical presentation nuance that you have to accept. Homophobia is being presented for the sake of comedy. When it comes to storytelling, comedy is a form of artistic license. It's the same practical justification we accept for sexual expressions, graphic violence, and other taboo elements in storytelling. Persona 4 is practicing multiple terms like dramatic license, narrative justification, earned edge, earned shock, and contextual purpose within storytelling. It's also called narrative or comedic license. Not to get too confusing, but this covers the shared principle across sexual expression, violence, and edgy humor. Violence in art is justified for stakes, psychological impact, world building, or action spectacle rather than mindless cruelty. Edgy humor like homophobia, slurs, etc. is justified when it drives character flaws, satire, timing, or chaotic group dynamics instead of just lazy shock value. All of this works for Yosuke because it creates chaotic energy within the investigation team. And that chaotic energy begets comedy and uniqueness that no other Persona game has. So while it is homophobia, it's not just homophobia. It serves a contextualized purpose to the narrative. But I'm not even done. I have another line of thinking to show you. Persona 4 is literally about accepting yourself for who you really are. We know that Kanji Shadow was glorifying sexuality, gender, and taking initiative when it comes to romance. People oftentimes forget how aggressive Shadow Kanji was, and even referred to you, Yosuke, and Teddy to being, I quote, wonderful boyfriends. It's not unreasonable to think that any straight teenage guy would be uncomfortable by this statement. But if you're still unsatisfied, I got another excellent point that I'm about to make. Instead of you and Yosuke, let's imagine that Shadow Kanji was talking to Yukiko and Chie and said, hey, you two girls would be wonderful girlfriends. You would make a nice addition to my body count. Let's hypothetically say Shadow Kanji said that. Now, let's also say that instead of being in the tent with you and Yosuke, Kanji was in the tent with Chie and Yukiko, and they were sharing a tent. Would it be wrong morally of Yukiko and Chie as women to question between themselves if they are safe being in the same tent with Kanji after his shadow said that to them? I'll answer it for you. No, they wouldn't be wrong, at least to the majority of people. Why? Because they're a woman, and it's a double standard. Well, a woman can question whether or not she's safe around somebody. A woman can question whether or not somebody is going to rape her or not. Oh, but let it be a dude question that shit. Oh, he's a dickhead. Oh, he's an asshole. Oh, he's homophobic. You get what I'm saying here? So my argument here is that this isn't a homophobic thing. This is a moral thing, okay? You know what I mean? Like, just assuming the worst about somebody, okay? Because they are teenagers, this is a reasonable response. But even if they weren't teenagers, you have adults worried about this. You know, sleeping with somebody that you know is kind of, you know, you've seen the worst of them. So it's not strange to wonder this, but this all goes back to narrative license, artistic value. This is literally a punchline to what the fuck they just saw in the TV world. It's for comedic effect. Once again, the game is about accepting yourself for who you really are. So whenever Yosuke pokes fun at Kanji for being gay, the narrative undertone to this is just trying to get Kanji to accept himself for who he really is. How Yosuke goes about it, that's another argument entirely that you can make, but the undertone is still the same. And this is my last point to prove that the discourse between Kanji and Yosuke is not political. Kanji literally threatens to beat up Yosuke's ass whenever he and makes implying comments that Kanji is gay. This is literally here for comedic value. This is not political at all. And it's hilarious how Troy Baker executed that line with Kanji. I feel like people are projecting themselves into the video game, and they are being offended by the things that Yosuke is saying. They're not actually taking the video game for how it is. They're projecting themselves to Kanji, and they're feeling offended by what Yosuke says. And to that end, I say, just don't fucking play the game. The game is rated M for mature. If you're not fucking mature enough to stop self-inserting yourself into certain characters or certain punchlines that are made that's not targeted towards you, then this game isn't for you. It's like Ebihara having a shadow, and her shadow says something along the lines of, I hate all men, kill men, yada, yada, yada. And that's like Yosuke poking fun at and saying something along the lines of, hey, I hope you don't kill me. I haven't done anything. I'm sorry. Like, that's like Yosuke just be acting overly scary towards and that pisses her off. Well, that's like a girl in the audience getting mad at Yosuke because it's like, well, hey, actually, some women actually are justified into hating men because this, that, and the third. But in actuality, as a fellow player and enjoyer of the game, you can see how extreme that take is, can't you? To hate an entire gender, or to try justifying the hate of an entire gender and then getting mad at Yosuke for poking fun of that. Like, it's supposed to be innocent fun, and nobody can have fun anymore. And this is honestly going to be the problem with Atlas going forward, because instead of focusing on the people that's going to buy your game regardless, you're going to cater to the people that don't really care about your game in the first place. All they care about is making Yosuke gay. That's all they care about you doing. They don't care about anything else. They just care if Yosuke is gay or not. Anyway, if you guys like the video, make sure you leave a thumbs up. The reason why I made a video like this on my channel, bro, is because, me personally, I wouldn't make a video like this, but I had to put myself in the perspective of a viewer. Like, there's some of you guys out here that have the same thoughts as me, yet you can't fully get them out or put them in a video, or rather you don't have the courage to put it out or put it in the video because you don't want to go back and forth with people, hypothetically speaking, or, want to face any type of criticism. So it's like, I felt like if I made a video like this, I feel like it would be a breath of fresh air for some people, for some viewers. I know that if I was a viewer and I was watching somebody making a video like this, it would be a breath of fresh air for me, and I would love it, and I would regain faith in the Persona fandom again, But that's just me. If you guys agree with me, like the video, comment, and yeah, have a good day.